Good morning, class. Today we're going to focus on fractions. We've talked of fractions before. We've talked of 1/2, 1/2. Now we're going to focus on a word. There's a word for the top number, and there's a word for the bottom number. I want to tell you the word for the bottom number. The word for the bottom number is denominator. Say denominator. The denominator tells us how many parts something is broken into. Now, this is something that I need you to remember. The bigger the number, the smaller the piece. Say that with me. The bigger the number, the smaller the piece. Again, the bigger the number, the smaller the piece. Let me explain. What fraction is this? 1/2. That means that the group or the item is broken into two parts, and you get one of the two parts. Now, look at this fraction, 1/3. Which number is bigger, the 2 or the 3? The 3 is bigger. That doesn't mean you get more pieces. It actually means you get a smaller amount than if it was broken into halves, because now we have to share it with 3 people, so you're going to get a smaller piece. What is this fraction? 1/4. 4 is bigger than 3, and it's bigger than 2, but it does not mean you'll get a bigger piece. You're going to get an even smaller piece because now we're dividing it into 4 parts. Let's demonstrate with a candy bar. This is a whole candy bar. If I wanted to break my candy bar into half, the denominator is 2. So that tells me I'm going to break it into 2 pieces. Here I go. Right down the middle. I have 2 pieces, one for you, one for me. They are 2 equal parts. Now, if I wanted to divide it into 4ths, you're going to get a smaller piece because I have to break them into 4 parts. 4 is my denominator. So to get 4ths, I take this half and break it in half. Then I take this half and break it in half. Now let me show you what I have. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. You would get 1 of the 4 pieces. Before you were getting this size. But now that I have to have 4 groups, you're getting this size. Let's see what it looks like with thirds. My denominator is 3. My denominator tells me how many parts to break it into. So to show thirds, first we have a half. Then to show thirds, I have to break them into equal parts. So there's going to be 3 groups. And in each group, this is the size of what you would receive. You would only receive this size because I had to divide them into 3 groups. So let's practice again, this time with Play-Doh. Do you have any Play-Doh at home? If you do, you could go get some. Maybe pause my video. I already have mine set up right here. So if you want to pause and go get some Play-Doh yourself, you could go do that. If not, you can just watch me and answer my questions, and we can do it together. Okay, so the first step when you get some Play-Doh is to roll it out into a flat circle. It doesn't have to be super round. It's a flat surface so that we could divide it. Okay, the first fraction we're going to do is we're going to do 1/2. Now, in the fraction 1/2, what is my denominator? My denominator is 2. So that means that I'm going to divide my Play-Doh into 2 parts. So I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to divide it into 2 parts. I'm going to need 2 hands for this. So I'll do that. And if you have Play-Doh, you can do the same thing. So I'm dividing my Play-Doh into 2 parts. Then I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. There's my 2 parts. See how big they are? Now, let's try another fraction. Now we're going to do 1/4. What's my denominator? The 4. So I have to take this Play-Doh and make it into 4 groups. The easiest way to make something into fourths is to divide it in half, and then divide this half into half, and divide this half into half. So you go ahead and do that too. And now I have 4 groups. But look, each piece is smaller because I had to divide them into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last fraction that we're going to practice with is thirds. Now, making something into thirds is not quite as simple as making it into fourths. So we need to go ahead and put your Play-Doh back together. So you can just take it and smush it, roll it around a little bit, knead it, and get it back into your circle. As best as you can. All right, now, the fraction 1/3. What is the denominator? 3. So we're going to divide this into 3 pieces. I'm going to put my camera down to do this. We're going to divide it into 3 pieces. So you can't go straight down the middle. Probably the easiest way would be to get 6 pieces and then divide them into 3 groups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it down the middle, then I'm going to cut it here, here, and here. So then I will be able to divide it into 6. I will show you what I mean. So to get 6, I divided it down the middle here, then here and here, and now I have 6 pieces, so I can say 1 for this group, and this group, and this group. Now I have 3 groups, and this is how much each group gets. It's a little bit more than a fourth, but it is, so a fourth is bigger than 3, so a third was a little bit more than that one, as you can see here. All right, how are you doing? Are you starting to get the idea? Let's try it with your erasers. So I have my erasers all lined up here. I need 12 of them. So go ahead and grab your erasers, line them up in a straight row of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you do not have erasers, you could use straws. Either one would work. Something to divide into, because we divided into pieces, now we're going to divide into groups. We kind of did groups with the 1/3 for the Play-Doh. It was easier to do it with groups on that way. All right, so I have my 12 erasers. If I want to divide them into half, then for the number half, I need to have 2 groups because 2 is my denominator. Show you that. 2 is my denominator. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my second group. So I get to have how many in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each group because I only needed 2 groups. All right, let's try thirds. So 3 is just a little bit bigger than 2. So I have to break this into 3 groups. So I've got to take some from this group to make a new group. And I've got to take some from this group to make a new group. Now I have 3 groups because 3 is my denominator. 1, 2, 3. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in each group. When I did halves, I was able to have 6 in each group. But because I need to share with another person, I'm only able to have 4 in each group. All right, now our number is going to even get bigger. Remember I told you that 1/3 was just a little lower, was just a little bit bigger than a 1/4. Now I need 4 groups, so I've got to take some from this group, and I've got to take some from this group. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but I got to even them out here. So give one more here, and we'll give one more here. There we go. So I had to just make it even, thinking like teams. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4. So now each group only gets 3 because my denominator is bigger. So when I had halves, each group got 6. When I had thirds, each group had 4, and when I have fourths, each group only got to have 3. So that's what we mean when we say the bigger the number, the smaller the piece. So there's a little bit of practice on your worksheet for this, and I'll talk about that in my next video. So go ahead and find Math Workbook page 291 and write your name on the top. See you in the next video.